Hello everyone, Andrew Tenjum here, recording for Team Cardhoarder. Today I will be playing the Bant Company deck that I will be playing at SCG Richmond this weekend. I may end up a couple cards off from this, but I think this is pretty close to what I'm going to play. The main deck is pretty standard. I have a couple Ojutai's commands over a couple Dromoka's commands. But Dromoka's command has been on the decline lately in these lists anyway, so that's not too wild or anything. I still like having the two Archangel Avacins, especially for the mirror match, because I think that you need some way to break through in the mirror, rather than just getting in a board stall and hoping that you come out on top, because I think you just need something to give you that edge, and I think that having two Avacins, although a lot of people also have two Avacins, gives me an edge against the people who do not. I also like playing the four Selfless Spirits, whereas some other people are playing Jace. I just think that Selfless Spirit is great, and it really helps against sweepers out of like the Tamir Merge deck, Kozilek's Return, and furthermore, I think it's very good in the mirror because a lot of times you get into combat and it gives you really favorable attacks and blocks that you wouldn't have otherwise had. And I just don't feel like Jace is at its best in this deck. The only real things that you can flashback are like Collected Companies and maybe Dromoka's Command. But the main problem I have with it is that it's just not aggressive enough, whereas Selfless Spirit is actually a 2-1 flyer that can start putting pressure on. And in game ones with this deck, especially against decks like Tamir Emerge, I want to be aggressive and I want to disrupt their game plan while executing mine, because I feel that they have a better late game than I do, with the flashback Kozilek's Returns, Elder Deep Fiend, and then even Emrakul's. Other than that, mana base pretty standard. Moving on to the sideboard, nothing too crazy here except we do have Eldrazi Displacer. And I suppose I forgot to mention in the man base, we do have one Wastes, which is clearly not standard. But again, I think Eldrazi Displacer is a good way to break through in the mirror match. You see a lot of Bant Company mirrors where the game gets into a board stall and neither player can really attack. And I just want to have some edge against the other great players in this tournament who will be playing Bant Company. And I think Eldrazi Displacer does exactly that for me. It breaks the board stalls by not only tapping their creatures, but also by if I can set up a Eldrazi Displacer Reflector Mage combo, then it's going to be very hard for them to get ahead on board because I can basically cast a new Reflector Mage every single turn, if not more than once per turn. Other than that, we have some counter spells for the controlling decks, Learn from the Past for the Delirium decks, Lantern Scout for the blue-red burn deck, as well as a deck like Mono White Humans if people are still playing that. Tamio Field Researcher I like over Gideon because I just think it's more versatile. It's good when your opponent has no creatures because you can use the +1 mode and just attack and draw some cards. But when your opponent does have creatures, you can use the -2 to tap them down and potentially kill them out of nowhere. Whereas Gideon, I think, is a little more narrow. It's really good when your opponent has nothing in play, but I think when your opponent has a board presence, it becomes a lot worse because they're able to pressure it, and the 2/2 Knights aren't very good at blocking. And then finally we have Tragic Arrogance, which is my other plan for the mirror match. I think these are the main cards I'm going to be boarding in the mirror match. I just think you need a way to break board stalls, and if you draw a Tragic Arrogance, you can play the game in a way where you can blow your opponent out with it while not losing too much yourself because you knew about the Tragic Arrogance and your opponent did not. So that's the deck. It's just Bant Company, so there's nothing too crazy going on here. You guys all know what a Bant Company deck looks like. But this is my personal take on it, and I'm excited to play it not only this weekend, but also in this standard league that I'm about to play in. So we'll see you for round 1 in just a moment.